episode 220 of the White Cat Outdoors podcast, bringing you to the table while we talk about the outdoors. Well, this is an exciting episode for us. Hopefully you guys find it exciting too. We've been after predators for several years, but really kicked it up the last two. Kind of mentioned that in the last few episodes, but the elusive coyote has been really tough. You know, we got a gray, we got a red, but we just couldn't quite seal the deal on a coyote, and that was kind of like the main target. So Tom and I decided to head out of state, meet up with one of our buddies that's been into coyote hunting for a while, and finally, the first night out of state, capitalized on a big 40-pound male, and could not be happier. We were so ecstatic. It was like shooting my first buck all over again. So this is the story for that hunt, and we hope you guys enjoy it. I know it was awesome to be a part of it, and if you guys aren't into coyote hunting, maybe consider getting into it. But I'm going to quit rambling, and let's get tuned in to this week's episode.
I pull up my bow, and then I look dead at his antlers. I got out of the truck, and when I slammed the door, I heard gobbles all around me.
Let's see it.
Alaska, moose, spot and sock. That is the bucket list. I agree.
White Cat Outdoors. White Cat Outdoors.
Hey everybody, glad to be bringing you back in. I was back last week. I had a bit of a hiatus, but I'm bringing you back again, and hopefully I won't miss any more.
Why don't you reintroduce yourself in case somebody missed last week and you sound new?
Yeah, the name is White. Been a pretty big staple on the podcast for quite a while now, and yeah.
Good to have you back.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Sure.
Thanks everybody.
Well, I'm Nick.
And Tom is also here.
I am.
This is Austin, also present.
Oh, man, full house.
Gang's all here. But the only person that's important tonight is not Nick, because
It's never important.
yeah.
The reason this thing gets out every week.
But yeah, Nick is the guy we're talking to, because if you listened last week, you know that Nick and Tom were heading up to New York to do a bit of coyote hunting, and Nick got the job done.
Yeah, so just quick backstory, and we've said it on the podcast, so I'm just going to kind of go over it quick. Tom and I started coyote hunting years ago, probably close to 10 years ago now, but really didn't really start until last year. We kind of played around and didn't really take it very seriously, and last year Tom and I decided, let's really buckle down, let's try to learn this. Last year we had one mishap. We got really close, but just could never seal the deal. And then last Friday night, we drove 200 miles to our camp, and my buddy had a farm that we were able to go to, and first sit, coyote comes in.
First sit.
Yeah. So, and it's actually, so I'll give you the whole rundown of the hunt. So we're set up. And Tom and I usually sit 35 to 40 minutes. Mm-hmm. My buddy Keith is with us. He's killed some coyotes. He's helped us out a lot. He usually sits at least 45, and then sometimes an hour. But we're at this spot, and we're at the 45-minute mark, and we have not heard a dog, haven't seen anything. Well, Keith did say he saw one when we were walking in with the thermals, but nobody ever really, it was crest over the hill, taken off, so that was it. 45 minutes goes by, nothing. And then, Tom, you may have to help me here. What was the final call we used?
Sister pair.
So, let that lay down a couple minutes. Next thing you know, big coyote comes out of the hedgerow. Right in. Tom goes, Nick, coyote, right here. So, flip the light on, and coyote was just over 100 yards, somewhere in that 120-ish, 140, somewhere in there. And it's staring right at me. and I missed last week. I don't know if I talked about that, but I missed one last week, and it forced me, I say forced me, but to get a new tripod because I missed a coyote at like 150, kind of rushed the shot. It was just really shaky, and I was like, I'm not going to allow my equipment to cause me any more issues. So I upgraded my tripod to something that would, be a lot more stable. And this coyote
Upgraded your night vision too.
Yeah, I did that because it was really blurry at 150 yards. Like my scope was super blurry. It was just like a fuzz ball with like two white eyes, in there. Like it was really tough to tell what you could tell it was a coyote, but then when you try to like really focus in, it was just tough. So I was like, I got to get a different one and a new tripod. So I got both of those. This coyote was, over 100 yards, crystal clear. Perfectly rock solid. Shot it and just rolling in circles. Did have to make a follow-up shot we were just so excited.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's always better to be safe.
Yeah, and I don't want to wound something and it take off. So I think it's better, to do that than, take the extra shot versus, think it's done and then it takes off and you don't find it. Like, last thing I ever want to do with any animal is wound it and not recover it.
Yeah.
So easier just to put it down, thanks to Tom. He helped us
there
out.
for you.
Yeah. Because the other thing I was running into is I was using a bolt action being in New York. I couldn't use my PA setup. And I found out the hard way that it's a one shot. Basically, my bolt action becomes one shot. With the night vision on there, I didn't have the room to rack another shell.
You didn't have the room to do it, period, or it just took some time and was a pain in the ass?
You had to remove the night vision, rack the shell.
So when you sat down...
You had enough room to open the bolt and slide a shell in and close it.
But you couldn't
open
it
all the way to eject
the
casing out and then slide in a new one.
Okay.
Yes. Later on, because I was like, this is unacceptable, I'm not playing this game anymore, I did find out if I rotate 90 degrees with the night vision, instead of having your screen above the scope off to the left, it works perfect. So I did get around that, and glad I figured that out because that irritated me a lot.
Yeah.
Not that we hunt New York much, but it was like something where like this shouldn't work this way.
Especially on the first set, too.
Yeah. I was in a little bit of a panic mode because Tom's like, hey, its head's still up. Do you want me to shoot? I was like,
I can't do it.
Yeah, I'm like, without taking my night vision off and then playing with that, getting that all back, I was like, yeah, just take a shot. So Tom did, and head fell right down. So
Nice.
So we'll call it a group effort, but I think it's more my...
Tom called it in?
No, Keith called it in.
Oh, okay.
Keith was running the remote. And a little backstory, I was using a lever action 243, and I had the gun sighted in last year. I took it out for one hunt and never shot anything with it, and I sat in a gun safe. I'm like, I'm not even going to waste the rounds to make sure it's sighted. I played that game before, and if you take it out, you walk 100 yards into a field, and then you walk back to your truck, and then it goes into a gun safe.
It's still dead on.
Yeah. So what ended up happening was I get out to the field to load my shells, and I open the lever up, and there was like where you would push the shells down so you can add, I think it holds like 4 rounds, but that was seized up.
Nice.
So I'm sitting there in the dark trying to fiddle with this, and I'm like, this ain't even worth it. Like I'll just scan and let Nick know if one's coming.
Turns out.
Yeah, so everything went wrong for us.
And you still got it
but
done.
we still got it done.
That's usually when you end up getting it done, is when everything's going bad and you're like, this blows, we just need to leave.
it was like that feeling. And so we're all like high-fiving, like cheering, like, because Tom and I are like, Jack, this is the first coyote, a long time coming. And like I said, like I shot, Tom shot, we were both like, it was both of our coyote, you know. So we were like just super stoked, and then Keith's still scanning. Next thing you know, another coyote, another pair, another, like it was like we were like, my gun's not loaded, Tom's gun's not loaded, Keith's scanning, so he's not really paying, like, and all of a sudden there's my dead coyote out there and 4 other coyotes out in the field. We did not get another coyote, but we were just so excited, and it was just like
one was good enough.
Yeah, got one, and it was absolutely amazing. It was like shooting my first buck. It really was. Just worked so hard to get to that, and it was just awesome. It ended up being a big 40-pound male.
That's a nice coyote.
Yeah, it was, I mean, very, very respectable. Happy for my first one, and even took it to my fur guy, and he first thing he said when he saw it, he was like, when did you shoot it? And I was like, Friday. And he's like, well, that ain't from around here, because he could tell that it was, the fur was actually a lot nicer as far north as we were than you would find around here.
Yeah.
He said this still has a beautiful winter coat on it, so it's going to make a nice tan.
Nice.
I just, because like I got my red fox on the last day of fox season. I'm getting that one tanned, and I was like, well, I'll just do another coyote tan, and then hopefully next year I can get a gray, and I'll have all three.
All three of them side by each.
Yeah, just, I mean, it's been like, I'm just super proud of them, and once I get the display like that up, I'd like to start making some garments. Just, I think it'd be sweet to have like a coyote vest.
Yeah, that would be dope.
You don't see those very often. They're just, it's a tough look.
Yeah, I want to like make something. I like the look where it's like fur on like across the shoulders and top of the back. Like I want to make something like that. That's a dope look.
Yeah,
Like a good old-fashioned Sherpa.
Yeah.
U.S. Fox and Fur could probably do it.
Oh yeah,
they
know
do
could.
custom stuff.
Yeah,
Would you do denim?
I don't know.
That would
that
be
would
really
be
tough.
sharp.
I have
Denim and gray
Sherpa.
fox.
Mine's denim and wool.
Yeah.
Or sheep.
Sheep. Yeah, sheep.
I think that's wool.
Yeah, but it's not
It's
like
not wool if it's still on the skin though. I think it's only wool like when you shear them, and
I don't know.
I'm sure it's still called wool, but
Yeah.
when you think of wool, you think of like a wool garment, not like
Sheepskin.
it's
a
more
skin.
sheepskin.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that it'd be fun to have like all those garments and stuff, and just be
That'll
like
be
the
sweet.
mountain man.
Heck yeah.
So, but yeah, so like we're kind of getting into the time of year. Like we're not gonna stop hunting, obviously. Like we're way into it, and I'll be honest, the more we go, just the more addicted I'm getting to it. Like I just get like, especially because we went 3 weeks in a row, just bang, 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 bang. Like we went from we've never killed anything at night to
It's happening
gray,
all the time.
yeah, gray, red, coyote back to back, and it's just been like, holy crap, we finally got this figured out, and let's keep going. But the winter or the summer furs just aren't really that great, so Tom and I are going to take this opportunity to learn how to tan them ourselves, because I mean, like the tanning process is exactly the same. It's just not going to be as nice of a winter fur.
Yeah.
So we're gonna practice skinning, which we know how to skin. We've been doing critters for a long time, but we've always the farthest Tom and I've ever taken it was like prepping it for
Going to the tannery.
going to the tannery. Yeah, so we're gonna try and take it that next step, pickle it, tan it, and just kind of practice with some summer pelts, and maybe get into a point where we can do it ourselves, full time.
Then you can make my Sherpa for me.
I got to learn how to sew then, or do some thread injection. That's what I like to call it.
Thread injection.
I used to have a job that I had to sew. It was part of my daily
So
task.
you tried to church it up.
Oh,
by
I
saying
absolutely did.
Thread injection.
Because I was like, I was talking to one of my coworkers, and I was like, you just can't say sewing manly.
No,
like there's nothing manly about sewing. And I told him, I was like, we got to come up with a better name. And a few days later, I was like, we're thread injectors.
That's a good
So
name.
yeah, I was in the thread injection business for a while, and it just sounds way cooler.
Might have to bring it back.
It's like deer tay. But yeah, so I might have to get back into some thread injection. But yeah, it's been pretty wild. We got Austin hooked to doing the night hunting.
Yeah, me and Tom were thinking about doing this Friday, so we'll see what comes of that.
Yeah, I can't go Friday, but I can go Saturday if the weather's good. That's the other thing too, with like hunting at night and with like night vision and thermals and stuff.
It's gotta be nice.
The weather's so like crucial. Like if there's snow, if there's rain, if there's fog, like you can't. Your equipment doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like your thermal will work fine with like rain and snow, but as soon as you add like that fog, it makes your thermals
fog
really tough.
Screws everything.
And then your infrared, like the night vision, you pretty much just need clear. Like fog, snow, rain, all of it will mess up your night vision. We've tried, and all we're doing is educating coyotes, and so we've just kind of decided that like if it's snowing, raining, fog, you just stay out. There's no like you can hunt coyotes year round. It's not like you have this little window where you got to get it done.
Yeah. Yeah, there's plenty of days to go hunt coyotes.
Yeah. I will say I have not been sleeping for the past 4 weekends.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we've done every single weekend the past like month and a half. Just Friday night, go out and hunt till like 4 in the morning, sleep for a couple hours, go back out Saturday night, hunt till 4 in the morning, sleep for a couple hours. Like it's just like all we do.
Really amps down your weekend production.
Oh yeah, I don't do nothing.
No
I actually
shit
watched
done around the house.
I actually watched a race. That's how lazy I was. I watched a NASCAR race. Like I don't even like NASCAR, but it was just an excuse for me to sit on the couch all day. Yeah, because I just have no motivation to do anything else. I'm so tired and ready to go. I'll go back out Saturday night, but that's it.
During the day, not doing shit.
No, I am glued to the couch. But it's all worth it. I'm excited to get back to PA and use my primary setup. And
Did you guys pick up anything new while you were up in New York that Keith was doing that maybe you plan on doing here in PA?
Tom, why don't you talk a little bit about the calls maybe?
Keith's big into and it's not just Keith, a lot of people. I guess MFK is really producing some great sounds that the coyotes are very responsive to.
I think a lot of that has to do with that they're new. And like every coyote in our
heard of
area,
Fox Pro.
that and especially like a cottontail distress. I think if you were to take a poll of like the number one call used, I think it's a cottontail distress. And with as big as coyote hunting is getting, I think that is just every coyote out there has probably heard the same cottontail distress cadence.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to mix up your sounds. And we run different sounds at every setup, different fields, everything. But like Tom said, these MFKs are newer and they've got some really crisp sounds that I don't know. To me, they sound as much as like our calls now sound like a coyote. These ones to me sound even more like a coyote, if that makes sense.
Yeah. When I used to hunt back like behind my house, I would go out and call. I would use a chicken distress call because we had chickens and they would get nabbed by coyotes and fox all the time. So I'm like, they're used to hearing that sound, so
I've heard of guys using like calf distress, like if they're hunting near like cattle farms.
I heard that's a good way to get trampled.
Well, if you're, I mean, I could see that, but if you're hunting, like say you're in an adjacent field where cattle isn't, but close enough to where like the coyotes know, hey, there's a cattle farm over there. I've had luck killing calves there. I'm only 200 yards outside the fence. I don't know. I feel like it would be useful. I feel like you just have to kind of play your region and what makes sense. I feel like if you're somewhere where there's not a cattle farm within 50 miles, calf distress probably isn't going to do that well. Same with like a chicken distress.
Yeah.
I think that's why like cottontail distress is so effective is because there's rabbits everywhere. I mean, how many rabbits were in the one field when we pulled up?
Half a dozen just walking in.
Yeah, they're everywhere. And a possum. Saw a possum. So that's pretty neat.
You do see a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you can see everything at night, I'm sure you're seeing a lot.
I didn't realize how active geese were at night. That's something I've learned in the past couple weeks.
The howls get them going.
Well, yeah, but I've never heard a goose at night. You start laying on a coyote howl, and there's a lot of geese around that get mad.
They don't care for
Which is kind of stupid because if you're a goose and you hear a coyote, don't you think it would be wise to like shut up and not
give away your
tell
location?
Them, hey, we're over here.
Yeah.
Apparently they don't think like that.
We have to see if there's a goose distress call. Might work.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
Nope.
That was loud. But yeah, that pretty much, sums it up. It was a heck of a weekend. It was just the one coyote we got, but I feel like there was more celebration and everything that just kind of hindered us from, continuing to hunt super hard. It was like you get your first buck and you're not really ready to go out for a doe the next day.
Yeah.
Like that kind of feel. We still hunted.
You're just riding that high.
Yeah, we still hunted, but it was just, we were so pumped and we did some shed hunting throughout the day. Got some permission on some new properties, that kind of stuff. So it was still like a good weekend, just the one coyote. But I think now that we got that monkey off our back, I think
they're just going to start flowing now.
I don't want to jinx this, but yeah, it feels that way. So I'm excited to keep going, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the Predator content. This is something new we really haven't brought into the White Cat podcast at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We
And
really
it's something that you're probably going to be hearing a lot about because there's some points in the year where in the past we had nothing to talk about.
now we do.
Yeah, now
So
there's
we're
always
we're not doing this for me. This is all for you guys.
I don't want.
I don't want to be out there at night hunting, as much as I can. I just hate being out in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
You're out in the fields, 2 a.m. with night vision. I tell you, feels like playing Black Ops 2 all over again. it's crazy.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's a good time. I really enjoy the coyote hunting. It's just we've always said we just look for every excuse to be outside,
Mm-hmm.
and this has just opened up the second 12 hours of a 24-hour period, and it's year round. So it's
Yeah.
I can't say it's quite as high up on my list as archery, but it is climbing rapid up my list.
It may have surpassed turkey.
Whoa.
See, like turkey and archery are like right together for me. Like it surpassed rifle deer hunting for me already. It's probably sitting at a close third behind turkey. But the more we do it, and the fact that I can do it year round, it might surpass turkey. I never thought I'd say that because turkey is like that's my bread and butter. I for whatever reason turkeys just work for me. I don't know. It's like Tom with deer. So yeah, it's been fun. So if you guys
It's
are
been real. It's been fun. And it has been real fun.
Oh, thanks for that, Tom. We might as well end it there unless you got anything to interrupt me with.
No, that was about it.
Austin, you good?
Nope, that was it.
All right. Well, if you guys aren't into coyote hunting, you guys should because it's just another excuse to get outside.